On April 10th, 2026, 4 astronauts splashed down in the Pacific Ocean after spending 10 days farther from Earth than any human being has ever traveled. Artemis 2 was not a landing. It was a test, a loop around the moon and back, the first crewed flight beyond low Earth orbit in more than 50 years. But what comes next is not another test. Artemis 4, targeted for early 2028, will put humans on the lunar surface for the first time since 1972. And they will not be going to the same moon. The Apollo missions landed near the equator in broad daylight on flat, open plains. The astronauts stayed for 3 days at most. They planted flags, collected rocks, and came home. The new missions are aimed at a place no human has ever been, the lunar South Pole. And the South Pole is a different world. Near the equator, the sun rises and sets on a 29-day cycle. 14 days of sunlight, then 14 days of darkness. But at the South Pole, the geometry changes. The moon's axis is tilted only 1.5 degrees. That means the sun never climbs high above the horizon. It skims along the edge of the landscape, casting light sideways across the surface. Crater rims catch the sunlight almost continuously. Some ridges receive more than 90% illumination throughout the year. But the floors of those craters never see it. Not once. Not in more than 1 billion years. These are called permanently shadowed regions. More than 300 of them exist on the moon, covering a combined area of roughly 12,000 square miles, about the size of the state of Maryland. More than half are in the southern hemisphere. Inside these craters, the temperature hovers between 25 and 70 Kelvin. In Fahrenheit, that is somewhere between 370 and 415 degrees below zero. Colder than the surface of Pluto. Colder than the rings of Saturn. Cold enough to trap and preserve volatile compounds, including water, for billions of years. And that is exactly what they did. In 2009, NASA deliberately crashed a rocket stage into the floor of a permanently shadowed crater called Cabeus. The impact kicked up a plume of material from the crater floor. Instruments on the trailing spacecraft analyzed the plume in real time. The result, roughly 6% water ice by weight in the impact zone. More than a trace, more than a hint. 6% mixed into the lunar soil, frozen in place for longer than complex life has existed on Earth. That ice is the reason the South Pole is the target. Why send humans to the most dangerous part of the moon when the equator is easier to reach? Because water changes everything. Water on the moon means drinking water, breathable oxygen, and rocket propellant, all extractable from a single resource. A permanent base without local water is a supply chain from Earth. A permanent base with local water is the beginning of self-sufficiency. But reaching that ice means working in or near environments that are among the most hostile in the solar system. Imagine standing on the rim of Shackleton Crater, one of the primary candidate sites. The sun is barely above the horizon, casting your shadow hundreds of feet across the gray dust. In front of you, the crater drops away into absolute blackness, darker than any night on Earth. There is no scattered light here, no atmosphere to diffuse it. The shadow is total. The temperature at the bottom is 400 degrees below zero. Behind you, the sunlit surface bakes at 250 degrees above zero. The difference between where you stand and where the ice is, a few hundred feet of elevation, is a swing of nearly 500 degrees Fahrenheit. And then there is the dust. Lunar regolith is not like sand on Earth. On Earth, wind and water tumble grains against each other over millions of years, rounding their edges, smoothing them into the soft powder you feel at a beach. Moon has no wind, no erosion of any kind. Its surface has been pulverized by 4 billion years of micrometeorite impacts, grinding rock into particles finer than talcum powder, but with edges as sharp as freshly broken glass. The Apollo astronauts noticed it within hours. The dust clung to everything. It scratched helmet visors. It jammed equipment seals. It worked its way into suit joints. After 3 days, the crews reported that the dust smelled like spent gunpowder. Their eyes and throats burned. For a 3-day visit, it was manageable. For a permanent base, it is a fundamental engineering problem. How do you build a settlement on a world where the ground itself is trying to get inside your lungs? Inhaled over weeks or months, those glass-sharp particles could shred lung tissue the way asbestos does. Every airlock, every seal, every surface that makes contact with the outside must be designed to keep the dust out. Because once it is inside, it does not settle. In 1/6 gravity, it floats. And the radiation. The moon has no magnetic field and effectively no atmosphere. On Earth, the magnetosphere and the air above us block the vast majority of cosmic rays and solar particle events. On the moon, there is nothing. Astronauts on the surface are exposed to roughly 2.5 times the radiation dose of crew on the International Space Station. During a solar particle event, which can arrive with as little as 15 minutes of warning, the dose rate can spike by a factor of 100. Without shielding, that is lethal within hours. The current plan is to bury habitats under several feet of regolith, using the moon's own dust as a radiation shield. The same material that threatens to destroy lungs will be piled on top of the structures that protect them. Powering all of this in a place where the sun barely rises is another problem. Solar panels work on the illuminated crater rims, but any infrastructure near or inside the shadowed regions needs an independent power source. NASA has contracted the development of a fission surface power system, a small nuclear reactor designed to operate on the lunar surface. It is not science fiction. The contracts are signed. The reactor is designed to produce 40 kilowatts, enough to power roughly 30 average homes on Earth, or one small lunar outpost trying not to freeze in the permanent shadow of a crater that has been dark since before the dinosaurs existed. This is not the moon of Apollo. Apollo was a visit, 3 days, a few walks, a flag. What comes next is an attempt to stay, to build something permanent in a place that offers no air, no warmth, no water. You do not dig out of frozen craters yourself, and a surface that cuts through everything it touches. If you could stand at the South Pole and look up, you would see Earth, small, blue, impossibly far away. Everything you have ever known, hanging in a black sky above a world made of silence and glass. Every breath you take would come from a machine. Every drop of water extracted from rock that has been frozen for 3 billion years. Every wall between you and death would be something a human built and carried there. And yet we are going. The moon offers nothing that makes survival easy. But what we learn there is the only way forward.